Hello guys, welcome back to the Brutal Investor channel. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. In this episode, we're going to talk about a popular Canadian stock that in my opinion has a really high potential to grow in the future, and it's also an amazing dividend yield that provides a passive quarterly dividend for everyone who holds the stock. And this stock is called the Telus or the T.TO stock, right? Again, as always guys, I highly recommend you guys to do your own research on any of the projects we cover on our channel. And for this stock, I recommend you guys to go to the website telus.com in order to learn about this stock itself and the company. And at the same time, you can go to Yahoo Finance, which is the resource that I'm going to use for the entirety of this video in order to provide you with what my thoughts are on the stock, along with some of the basic numbers and price information for the stock, right? But before we talk about Telus, I want to talk to you guys about Wealthsimple. Wealthsimple is, if you guys don't already know, for some reason this platform is not opening on my mobile phone, but if you go to wealthsimple.com, you can see that this is a mobile app which you can use to basically buy, sell crypto, ETFs, bonds and everything else, along with the fact that you can buy crypto as well, right? So this is a very simple and easy to use platform for a lot of beginners out there who want to test their skills, as well as who want to get some basic platform to buy and sell stocks, and also create accounts such as TFSA, RRSP for Canadians, and so on and so forth, for people who want to dabble in the stock market, crypto space, or in the ETF space, right? So by using Wealthsimple, you're getting a lot of important tools in very user-friendly manner. They charge you literally no fees for trading, and you can literally set it up in like a few minutes, right? It's that easy to use. It's beginner friendly. It's also easy to transfer your account from another service provider to them, or from them to another service provider if you want to move somewhere else in the future, right? So if you use the link in the description to set up a Wealthsimple account, you can get up to $3,000 Canadian dollars in order to start your trading, which is just a bonus. And you can use that $3,000 worth of stock, up to $3,000 worth of stock, in order to buy stocks or crypto or ETF and so on and so forth, right? And by using the link in the description, you're also supporting the Brutal Investor channel, for which you thank in advance. Going back to the Yahoo Finance page for Telus, again, all the information that I'm going to present today will be peripheral information from yahoo.com, Canadian yahoo.com, so all the information is going to be in Canadian dollars. So if you want to find the American equivalent of this, you can definitely go to the regular stock, you can search for Telus US, and they'll provide you the exact same information. Only the difference will be that the price information will be in US dollars, right? So if you see, first of all, this stock is basically traded at T.TO. So T.TO stands for Toronto Stock Exchange. So if you want to buy the Canadian version of the stock, you need to type the T.TO. But if you're trying to buy it in US dollars, you just need to type T, right? Which trades in the New York Stock Exchange, right? And they're currently trading at $29.71 at the time I'm making this video, but we'll cover through the information of the price and all that in a few seconds. So just to give you guys a heads up on what Telus is, you can go through the profile section of the Yahoo Finance page, and you can read about this description section, which will provide you with what Telus is and what kind of services and products they offer. Just to summarize it, Telus is a very important telecommunications company that not only offers telecommunications services but also offer a whole host of other services, which includes security, healthcare, software, technology solutions, as well as data management and data management and data analytics services for food chain technologies, home and business security, and so on and so forth. So in short, if you ask a Canadian, Telus is a company which is basically a company that provides any form of internet, TV and telecommunications services, as well as mobile phone plans, and you can use Telus pretty much anywhere in Canada, right? So that's pretty much what they are and what they do, and they are a company that's based in Vancouver, Canada, and you can learn more about them through their website www.telus.com, right? So now that we've covered that, let's go to the summary section and talk about some of the information about the stock itself. So the previous close as of Friday last week was $29.56. The opening price was $29.72. The bid and ask, all this information is available here. The date range is between The day's range was basically between $29.57 and $30.03. So clearly they were trading between this range in the whole day of Friday last week. The 52-week trading range was $27.34 all the way till $34.65. Clearly they've traded within this range, and this is important information for people who are doing daily trading or who want to get into daily trading for this stock, right? The volume was quite good. It was $3.1 billion in trading volume in the past day alone, which is on Friday, and the average trading volume is $2.7 million. So clearly this stock has a very high volume. A lot of people buy and sell the stock on a regular basis. The market cap is $41.025 billion, and the PE ratio is 22.17, and along with the EPS being 1.34, right? So these are important ratios that clearly indicate that this stock is a good stock, right? The forward dividend and yield. So this is important information because for people who are trying to buy the stock for dividends alone, the dividend yield is basically 4.50%, which is the forward dividend yield, and the ex-dividend date is the date when you need to buy the stock or hold the stock before you can get a dividend for the previous quarter is September 8th, 2022. So before this date, you need to hold the stock in order to be eligible to get a dividend, right? The 1-year target estimate is $34.27, which I personally feel is easy for the stock to reach because of their extremely high performance. So if you want to know what people are talking about and thinking about this stock, you can basically, again, for some reason, this the internet hasn't been really great. If you give it a second, it will probably load. So a lot of people are overall talking really positive about Telus, and they do believe that Telus is going to do pretty well. I personally think that Telus is a very good stock that you need to keep an eye out for, because you will be able to make some really good passive income thanks to their quarterly dividend, along with the fact that you will be able to get a lot when it comes to capital gains as well, right? So when it comes to conversations, you can clearly see that a lot of people are commenting about 778 reactions to Telus.to, and if you see a comment by Apollo 666, which was 6 days ago, and this person has commented that great entry level dividend coming, solid company, do your own research. So clearly they are mentioning that this is a good positive stock. There's also some negative stock occasionally as well. If you see, Robert has made a negative comment here. He's mentioned that not really a tech company, as shown by the lack of institutional investors in that sector, or revenue growth through expensive acquisitions. Don't wait for the stock to go below 20, sell. So clearly some people are obviously asking people to buy, and some are asking you to sell. Overall, the trend that I've seen is that it's a really positive stock to buy and hold. For people who are buying this stock right now, you will be able to get some really good capital appreciation. But if you're planning to just buy it, sell it, and forget it, you don't have to worry about buying and selling it and trading it on a regular basis, right? If you want to get more information about what people are thinking about the stock, I suggest you to go to Twitter and search for $T.TO, and you'll be able to get a lot of information about this stock and what people think about it, right? When it comes to statistics, this is the most important section where you'll be able to identify the overall information when it comes to numbers and metrics. So valuation measures the market cap on the intraday level is $41.03 billion. The enterprise value is $62.55 billion. The forward PE is 22.17, and the forward trailing PE is 22.17, and the forward PE is 20.70. And if you see, the price to sales ratio is 2.36, which is pretty good, and the price to book ratio is 2.61. So all of these are pretty good ratios and numbers that define the stock, right? So trading information wise, so the stock price on a historic basis has been the stock price history, the beta for 5-year monthly ratio is 0.58, and the 52-week change has been 0.9. And so in the past 52 weeks, the stock has increased up close to 1%, which is pretty good. But comparing this with the S&P 500 in the 52-week change, this stock has not performed quite well compared to the S&P 500, right? Because obviously the S&P 500 consists of much more tech stocks in the US market, and a lot of stocks in the US clearly outperform Canadian stocks by a huge margin. And comparing Canadian stocks with the S&P 500 is always going to yield a negative ratio unless the stock were to perform literally extremely well in an exceptional basis, right? Which is not really possible, and therefore this is not a really surprising number, and it's not a bad thing that if the stock is performing poorer than S&P 500. It's just that two different markets, and comparing them with each other is not really a good thing to do, right? 52-week high is $34.65. Again, the 52-week high for this stock has been $34, close to $35, which is pretty good. Currently, it's trading at $29. So you can clearly see that there's been a lot of push made towards the $30 mark, but now it's kind of cooled down and moving sideways, right? The 52-week low is $27.34. So clearly, this stock is operating in a very narrow space. $27 to $35 is the range where the stock usually operates, and it's currently at $29, right? So if you see other information, basically not really relevant. So share statistics, the average volume in the past 3 months is 2.77 million, and the average volume in the past 20 days is 2.47 million. So clearly the trading volume has increased in the past 10 days. The number of shares that are outstanding that's held by Telus is 1.38 billion shares, which is quite good. And the float is 1.39 billion. Percentage held by insiders is 0.02, not really surprising. And the percentage held by institutions is 55.72%. So clearly, a lot of institutions hold Telus as a part of their portfolio. And all this other information are not really fully relevant. When it comes to dividends and splits, the most important section of this video, the forward annual dividend rate, as we saw before, is 1.35. The forward annual dividend yield is 4.50. Again, quite a good yield to look up to. And trailing annual dividend yield or rate is 1.31, and the yield is 4.43. And the 5-year average dividend yield is 4.47. So clearly, the dividend has not really significantly changed, which is a good thing, but they do increase the dividend on a consistent basis. So that's also something that you should look for before you buy a particular stock. You need to understand if the dividend yield continues to grow on a regular basis, and for Telus, it has grown and they have increased their dividend consistently, so that definitely is a good thing to understand, right? The payout ratio is 97.73%, so clearly a very high number. But if you take a look at the telecommunications industry as a whole, 97.73% is not that crazy, because they have an extremely high operating cost and they put a lot of money. It's a very capital intensive business, and therefore they do need a lot of money for everything. So the payout ratio being quite high for the telecommunications industry is not a big surprising issue in my personal opinion, right? And dividend date wise, you can see that the dividend date was October, it's going to be October 3rd of 2022, and the next dividend date is September 8th of 2022. So the last split factor is 2:1, which happened on March 18th, 2020. So the stock recently got split in 2:1 ratio, and it happened on March 18th, 2020, right? Financial highlights. So if you see the fiscal year, it ended on December 31st, 2021, and the most recent quarter was obviously June 30th, 2022. Profitability wise, the company is a profitable company. The profit margin is quite slim, about 10.63% in profit margins, as well as the operating margin is 16.92%. So clearly, it's a very capital intensive business. Management effectiveness, return on assets is 3.87%, return on equity is 11.90%. The income statement, basically, that gives you the information about the revenues and the growth and all that. If you see, the revenue has been $17.34 billion. So they are making good revenue on a consistent basis. Revenue per share is 12.64, as well as the gross profit is $6.03 billion. So clearly they made a gross profit of $6 billion so far, which is pretty good. EBITDA is 4.64 billion, and other information are not really that relevant. So basically you can see that they are a very profit generating company, even though the profit margins are quite slim. Overall in the telecommunications business, it is quite good, right? And balance sheet wise, total cash that they have is $382 million. So they do have cash, but they also have a lot of debt. So if you see, the total debt is $21.93 billion. Quite a debt intensive company. And if you scroll further below, you can see that They have a operating cash flow of $4.59 billion. So again, these are the most important numbers which I'm just presenting to you guys. You guys can use this for your own research. You can also compare the numbers between this stock as well as another prime competitor for the stock, which is Bell Canada, which is BCE.TO, which you can see at the bottom. You can compare these two numbers and see how they are doing. They both are literally in the same telecommunications line, and they do offer pretty good comparisons between each other. And obviously both of them are really good stocks in my personal opinion. But if you're trying to buy one or the other, you may basically go through the same information between these two stocks, right? And if we scroll to the top, the next section that we're going to talk about is historical data, which is something that will be helpful for people who want to do daily trading. This will give you information about the last opening price, the highest price per day and lowest price on a day on a daily basis. So you can find that information here, right? Profile wise, again, we already went through this. This mainly talks about where this company is located and the website, and you can clearly see that they are in the telecommunications services and they employ about 90,800 people, which is quite a big employer in the Canadian economy. And if you see, some of the main personalities of this company are Darren Ainstwhistle, who is the president, CEO, and director, and this is the pay. They get $2.8 million, and their birth year and all that information is available for all the top executives of the company, right? So when it comes to financials, you can see that these are the annual financial information available for every year. You can see that the total revenue has consistently increased since 2018, so they have made consistently high revenue. Their cost of revenue has also gone up, but again, this is pretty much standard for every industry. The gross profit, you can clearly see, has increased year after year. So there's definitely general increase in both revenue as well as profits, as well as the fact that the cost of generating these cost of running these companies has also gone up clearly. So overall, it's all in the upward direction, which is the most important information to note, right? And you can see the total expense, total income before tax, and tax expense. So all these information are public statements that are available on this page for your deeper insight, right? If you go to analysis section, you can see the number of estimates for the price of the stock of this token, not the token, like the stock itself, and the price of the average estimate as well as the high estimates. All this information is given here. You can first of all clearly see that they have made a good estimate for the growth of this stock at 17.20% in the current quarter, and the next quarter is expected to grow at 39.10%. So clearly the stock analysts are making a good estimate for the stock to grow every single quarter, and the next quarter it's going to be about 39.10%. So clearly this is going to be a good stock to watch out for. And if, as of now, if you can see, the current year it's been doing 18.70% so far, right? It's definitely outperformed the current quarter estimates of 17.2%. So if it outperforms the next quarter, it will be even more great, right? Which will be really good for the shareholders. And if you scroll to the holders option, because the options tab is definitely not really information that's relevant to this video. As we discussed before, 0.02% of the shares are held by insiders, and 55.72% are held by institutions. 55.74% of the float are also held by institutions, which basically includes 575 institutions that are holding the shares of this company, right? Out of the institutional holders, the top holder is Royal Bank of Canada, which is a stock that we covered recently in our channel as well. You can check that out. It's also a very good dividend and long-term potential player in the Canadian market, and they hold about 141 million shares, which is about 10.17% of the overall shares that are present, and which is valued at $4.19 billion. So clearly, Royal Bank has a lot to gain if the company performs extremely well, and they definitely do believe that the company is going to perform well, which is a good indication for shareholders that they can also, if you are trying to buy a telecommunications share stock, you can basically bet on Telus, right? The second biggest holder is Mackenzie Financial Corporation, that holds 46.1 million shares, which is 3.33%, and the third one is Bank of Montreal, which is also another stock that we covered recently in our channel, which you can watch through, and they hold about 43.4 million shares, which is 3.13% of the total supply, right? So clearly you can see that the Royal Bank holds a way higher percentage, significantly higher percentage compared to McKinsey, Bank of Montreal, and several other players below them. So that kind of shows the difference between the gap between the number 1 holder versus the number 2, number 3, number 4, and everyone else, right? So those are good information to understand. When it comes to top mutual funds holder, the top 3 companies include American Mutual Funds Inc., which holds about 8.5 million shares, which is 0.62% of the entire share, and Income Fund of America Inc., which holds about 6.2 million shares, which is 0.45%, and Vanguard International Stock Index, they hold about 5.8 million shares, which is 0.42%, right? So clearly you can see that a lot of companies in the mutual funds, they are American companies first of all, and they do hold Telus stocks as a part of their mutual fund portfolio, which definitely means that everybody's betting positively on the price of the stock, right? So that's a very good thing to know. And sustainability wise, this is an important information to note because ESG, which is a ranking that is going to become very, very important in the future, because ESG ranking provides the sustainability of a particular company as well as the ethical considerations that the company has while they're doing business. And if you see the higher the ESG score, the better it is. So they do have a 17, which is a good number from the ESG standpoint, and their environmental risk score is 3.14 or 3.4, social risk score is 10.4, and governance score is 3.3. So all these numbers are pretty good, and there's also a level called controversy level. This company is ranked number 2, which is moderate when it comes to controversy, which is a pretty good thing. You don't want to hold a company that has lots of controversy around it. The highest you can go is number 5, but this stock is holding a number 2 value, which is pretty good, right? So going to the summary and the price information of the stock, if you look at the summary page, you can see that the stock is currently trading at $29.71 Canadian, and it was up 15 cents in the past 24 hours and about 0.51% in the past 24 hours as well, right? And if you look at the charts, you can clearly see that the stock has performed incredibly well since its inception. But if you see, the stock did make 2 huge bumps till 2009, but after 2009 the stock has consistently been going up in the upward direction, right? A lot of people are stating that this stock will probably cross the $31 mark in the next few months, which is definitely possible, and it seems like the stock is heading out in that direction. But if you see the all-time high, even though the stock did reach $32.66, it only took a small breather, and this indicates that the stock definitely has more momentum to push forward in the upward direction, right? So clearly there's a lot of opportunities for people to make some good capital gains from the stock. I personally feel like the stock is going to cross the $35 mark in the next year, and as the estimates predict, there's going to be quarter after quarter growth and increase in revenue and profit as well, right? So when it comes to like the stock itself, you can easily close your eyes and buy the stock. Again, not financial advice, but it's a very safe, very high quality stock to hold, especially for Canadians who want to hold it in their registered accounts such as RRSP or TFSA. You can basically close your eyes and hold the stock in these accounts, earn some really consistent passive dividend which gets increased on a regular basis, and you can experience some really good capital gains with the stock quarter after quarter when the stock is making some really good gains, right? Even during a environment where we have high inflation and quite a bit of concern with the recession, the stock is performing extremely well, which is a really good indication that a stock like this is a stock to hold in your portfolio regardless of the circumstances, so that you can fend off some inflation environments as well as recession fears while getting some passive income as well, right? So that's just my personal thoughts, not financial advice. But at the same time, my price prediction for this stock will be $35 to $37 in the next year, and that's definitely going to be something that the stock can achieve as per the analyst's prediction, right? And again, this is just my opinion, guys, not financial advice. Please do your own research before you put your hard-earned money on the stock, right? Again, remember, guys, you guys are not regular investors, you guys are brutal investors, so stay brutal. Thank you very much for watching my video, guys. If you like my video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. See you in my next video. Bye.